Well, good morning there, chums. 'Tis I, Captain of the Steves, and I've got myself a cup of tea. And I've done a cup of tea with Captain Steve for a bit. Now, this is just me watching a video of Elon Musk over at the Saudi-US Investment Forum of 2025. Other keynote speakers have been the King of England and Donald Trump. And here we go. This is a little mini chat with Elon Musk, and he says some very curious things. So I'm going to play this out, and I'm going to stop in and give you my thoughts and feelings every now and again. So here we go. Let's get into this.
My dear friend, we're honored to have President Trump. We're honored under the sponsorship and guidance of His Royal Highness to celebrate a U.S.-Saudi and a Saudi-U.S. relationship that is 92 years old, about how we move from an oil-based economy to an innovation-based economy powered by wonderful technologies that definitely you're one of the pioneers in this industry. We just showed to His Royal Highness some of your Optimus robots, and to President Trump. Let's talk about that. Tell me about them.
Yes, so we just showed several of our Tesla Optimus robots to His Highness and President Trump, and I think they were very impressed. In fact, one of our robots did the Trump dance, which I think was pretty cool.
The YMCA, yeah?
Yeah, to YMCA. So yeah, our robots can dance, they can walk around, they can interact. I think we're headed to a radically different world. I think a good world, an interesting world. My prediction actually for humanoid robots is that ultimately there will be tens of billions. I think everyone will want to have their personal robot. You can think of it like as though you had your own personal C-3PO or R2-D2, but even better.
When I was a kid watching Star Wars, I was like, oh, I really want my own droid. That'd be freaking excellent. Especially when you saw, like, in later versions, Anakin Skywalker building R2-D2, C-3PO. I was like, oh my god, I wish I could do that. That'd be freaking excellent.
Then who wouldn't want to have their own personal C-3PO, R2-D2? That would be pretty great. I also think it unlocks an immense amount of economic potential, because when you think about, like, what is the output of an economy, it is productivity per capita times population or capita. Once you have humanoid robots, the actual economic output potential is tremendous. It's really unlimited.
I mean, when you think about, we've got aging workforces and we've got people living longer. Our old age pensioners are there a lot longer. It's hard to sustain that with a workforce. Now, if you did, like you said, have robots there filling out that middle ground, I mean, let's face it, they don't get sick. They don't need tea breaks. They don't need feeding. They just need to recharge. It could completely change the workforce dynamic, and maybe even allow us humans to maybe move to working a 3-day week or a 2-day week, and eventually perhaps not even working at all, which he gets into in a moment.
Potentially we could have an economy 10 times the size of the current global economy, where no one wants for anything. Sometimes in AI they talk about universal basic income. I think it's actually going to be universal high income.
So a universal basic income is where the workforce will be robots, so they're going to be doing all the work, but there's still going to be profit for companies. They're still going to pay taxes, and those taxes can then pay for those people that don't have robots, don't have a stake in the economy, to just sit with a basic national income. A basic national income would just, give you the tea that you drink or the food on your table, and to pay your electricity bills and all that sort of stuff. A high income, heck, you might even be able to just walk into a Tesla branch and say, could I have a car, please? Yeah, there you go. Off you go then, mate. It could get to that stage.
Where anyone can have any goods or services that they want. A science fiction book recommendation that I have, which I think is probably the best envisioning of an AI future is the culture books by Ian Banks. Very highly recommended for a non-dystopian view of the future. Now, there obviously are some risks, which illustrate perhaps if we don't do this right, you could have like a James Cameron sort of movie, Terminator. We don't want that one. But having sort of a Star Trek future would be great, where we're out there exploring the stars, discovering the nature of the universe, and a level of prosperity.
Now, I watched an interesting video the other day about replicator technologies, and they were saying that, 3D printers use PLA to print with, right? They were saying, what if there was a 3D printer that used the building blocks of how everything's made on the planet? Carbon and H2O, all the building blocks necessary to create any resource, including gold or platinum. It could just be 3D printed using the basic building blocks that Mother Earth has got. It's a little way away, and I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but it was an interesting video, an interesting take on how things could be resource abundant.
And hopefully happiness that we can't quite imagine yet. So I'm very excited about the future, and very glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's our absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And His Royal Highness was talking to you about his vision and his dream to
Yeah.
increase productivity for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and power up the region and the whole
Yeah.
world with robotics, but also on robotaxis. So how are we doing on robotaxis?
So really you can think of a car or future cars as being robots on four wheels. And, I think it would be very exciting to have autonomous vehicles here in the kingdom.
Indeed.
If you're amenable.
You heard it.
So I've done a video on the Robotaxi that Elon Musk is creating. Now, when you're not using the car yourself, you've just got it sitting on the driveway doing nothing, you can register it on a site to become almost like an Uber. It will go out, pick people up, ferry them around the places. You just tell it the time that you need it back at home if you need to go out in it or something. And it spends the day earning money for you as a taxi. I think that's freaking insanely cool. Anyway, I did a video on that, and if I can find the link, I'll stick the link up there so you can go watch it.
Dear from Elon, he's bringing his robotaxi to the kingdom.
Yeah.
He has another announcement that he.
Yes, exactly. So, and I'd also like to thank the kingdom for approving Starlink for maritime and aviation use. Thank you.
Maritime and aviation. There you go. There you go.
So
So you're gonna bring us robots to help us increase our productivity.
Yeah.
Robotaxis to make sure that our cars and assets turn into a cash generating unit.
Yeah.
And Starlink to reform our aviation and maritime.
Yeah.
Talk about XAI.
Absolutely. But I should want to mention also something that may be worth considering is tunnels.
The Boring Company.
I have this company called The Boring Company, which sounds kind of boring, but it literally bores tunnels. And
I find this very curious what he's saying here, because he says that he's dug tunnels all under Las Vegas, and you can use these tunnels. I mean, I think he's hoping to put hyperlink in there, which is hyperloop, sorry, which is like mag-left trains that just zip you around all over the place. But he's been digging these tunnels, and I don't think a lot of people have really talked about it out there in the actual social spaces. There could be tunnels everywhere, and we wouldn't frickin' know. It does make you wonder if they've got more of these underground bases. I did a video on underground bunkers just the other day, surprisingly enough. I'll put a link up there so you can watch my underground bunkers video. Because it could be that he's linked them all together with The Boring Company. Frickin' the guys... As much as I know that there's not a lot of love out there for Elon, it's either you love him or you hate him sort of relationship at the moment. But some of the things that he's bringing to the forefront and the technology table, you've got to respect that at the very least.
And actually, tunnels, in order to solve traffic, you really need to go 3D with roads. And by using tunnels, you can essentially create like a wormhole, like a warp tunnel from one part of a city to another and alleviate traffic. And we've actually already done this proof of concept in Vegas. So there are working tunnels in Las Vegas that you can use where that'll just, it feels like teleporting from one part of Vegas to another. So I always say that, my joke is like tunnels are underappreciated. It's a bit of a, not always a hit, but
it's a slow one, the slow burn, that one. You're supposed to laugh.
Yeah, and then XAI is just trying to solve general purpose artificial intelligence. The goal with XAI is to have a maximally truth-seeking AI. And it's important to be maximally truth-seeking AI in order to understand the universe. Mm-hmm. So the goal of XAI is understand the universe, to understand what is out there.
So he wants to use XAI to tell us about the universe and to understand the universe. That's going to be its goal. XAI is going to be a free-thinking AI model, and it could give us the reasons to why we're here. Or what is the universe? Is it a simulation? What exactly is the fabric of our reality? Or at least that's what he implies next. I know that he's a kind of believer that perhaps we could be in a simulation. Maybe this is simulation theory that he now pipes on about, or maybe it is actual reality that he's hoping to achieve. But either way, if we do get the answers to the universe, how it was actually formed and created, what does that do to religion? So I did a video the other week just on how dangerous is AI, and I think the current models of AI are just a tool. But this XAI, free thinking and virtual consciousness, has got me a little bit more nervous about stuff, just to say the least. I mean, I know there's pitfalls of current AI, like what it's doing in classrooms with kids. They're given an assignment to write a 1,000-word essay, and they just jump on ChatGPT and boom, they've got it instantaneously. Anyway, I've done a video on my concerns around AI, and I'll put a link up there. You can go and take a look, see at that. It's freaking interesting.
Where's the universe going? Where did it come from? What questions? In fact, I think maybe the biggest thing is, what questions do we not know to ask? Like, once you know the question, the answer is usually the easy part. So the goal of XAI is to help understand the universe and that's the goal. And help people answer any questions along the way, of course. But
did you know? Is he wearing cowboy boots? He's wearing cowboy boots, people.
I mean, that's my philosophy. My philosophy is one of curiosity, just trying to understand the nature of reality.
So I know you had a long day, but we also have the Honorable President and His Royal Highness Musaidi hitting the stage soon. Yes. So this is a historic day, a partnership about how we could join hands together, as we have joined hands in the past 92 years, on building a factor-based economy to help the world and power up 20% of the energy mix, which is very critical today to the AI intelligence age, the digital age, and how we have reformed, and with the intelligent age. And we could not be more appreciative of having a lifetime partner and a friend like you, Elon, to the kingdom.
Thank you.
Joining hands on XAI, Starlink, and Robotics and Tesla.
Very interesting chat, mainly because of the ramifications that it has on our world. AI and robotics combined are shaping a future. And I'm hoping that Elon's right, that it's a future that's going to help alleviate things. I mean, if you are given a basic income, whether it's a high income or a basic income, it's an income nonetheless. That could relieve so much debt and stress and sleepless nights from people's worlds, couldn't it? It could lift people out of poverty more so than anything. It's like housing costs at the moment are freaking exorbitant because we've got to pay the labourers the time to do all the brickwork and all that sort of stuff, and the laying of cables and plumbing. If robots are able to do all of that, the plumbing, the electrics, the building work, the masonry, the cost of houses are going to drop exponentially. People are going to be able to afford their own homes, or at least I'd like to hope they can, especially if all the resources that are going in to make those homes, rather than being resource gathered by humans in JCBs, we might just have robotic JCBs. It could change the world, robotics. It really could. I mean, yes, there could be a robotic uprising at some stage. We've all seen Black Mirror. We've all seen Terminator. We've all seen the dystopian versions that Elon also suggested could happen. There's always a risk with new technologies. Something as simple as a bread knife in my hands is never going to be dangerous, but you give it to a trained assassin ninja, it's a weapon of murder. Yeah, so there we go, peeps. It's an interesting time that we're in. It's a very interesting time to be alive, and I can't wait to see how this pans out and how humanity progresses, especially with pioneers such as Elon putting out these robots. I mean, some people would say that they don't like him. I would say that his technology sets precedents, sets benchmarks, and it's pushing other companies to work and innovate faster. And that's what I like about Tesla as a company, is the fact that it's setting a standard and it's setting a goalpost for people to try and reach, and to reach quicker than they normally would. It's expediting our technology advancements. And yeah, I'm sorry if I've given him a platform and you don't like the guy, but it's more about the technology that I'm platforming. I think you know what I mean. Anyway, until next time, salutamondo, goodbye, and goodbye again.